This is a good idea, but we're going to try it. This is a good idea, but we're going to try it. So we're being a little experimental at the moment. To be perfectly honest, I've never seen anybody do real maintenance live on YouTube. So we're gonna crack a beer and try it. I don't know if literally anybody's gonna watch this, but we're gonna try this out. I got a Daiwa Tatula CT. This is actually my dad's reel, and it hasn't been serviced in a little while. It's pretty smooth, except it's a little noisy. So we're going to give this guy a quick cleaning and a greasing, all having a tasty beverage. So I just want to say I'm not going to be able to really like see or read comments very well. I have my phone pointing down to the table, and then I have my laptop like over here, but I can't really see. So if I don't see a comment or whatever, I apologize. So Joel, I kind of see it. So Joel said something. Let's see what he said. Do you guys not have sound? Can you guys hear me? If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Joel said something. Yeah, I'm getting some audio. Can you guys hear me? Yes, thumbs up. Can you hear me? Okay. It's the Daiwa Tatula CT. It's the old one, not the new one. Okay, great. You guys can hear me. Great, cool. The red spool. So the new Daiwa Tatula CT is basically like the same as this, except they have a blue anodized and a blue adjustment knob. And I don't know, is that still red on the new one? I haven't really seen the new Tatula CT, but it's basically the same as this one. So, like I said, this is not my reel. It's my dad's. And I was playing with it at his house, and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna take and clean this sucker. So first things first, I'm just gonna go through the body. Got my ozone killing ardent reel cleaner. This stuff smells so bad. Every time I use this stuff, my wife's like, "What were you doing? Like, why does that smell so bad?" All right, so if I don't see your comments while I'm doing this, I apologize. I don't see all the comments. I will try to keep an eye on some of them. Let's see. We got two of the old ones. These are really good reels. These Daiwa Tatula CTs for like $100. They're pretty sweet. If you can't spring for the SVs and you just kind of want some cheap workhorse reels, these are pretty good. So I'm gonna take the whole body, spray it down with this degreaser. This is just your degreaser. You can use like any degreaser. You don't have to use a fishing degreaser. There's a lot of degreasers out there. I mean, some people just use like WD-40. It don't matter. All right, so now that that is kind of wiped down, I'm gonna kind of get in this sucker and get a lot of this grease out of here, or a lot of this dirt out of here. This used to be my reel. I actually gave it or sold it. I don't remember if I gave it to my dad or I sold it to my dad. I don't know. If I sold it to him, I gave him a really good deal. But this used to be my reel. I used to like these CTs quite a bit. I remember when the Daiwa Tatulas, like the first Daiwa Tatulas came out, the really big ones, the Tatula 100s or whatever the heck they were called. Everyone loved those, but they were a little big. Does anybody remember those? Anybody in the chat have a OG Daiwa Tatula? Do you remember how big those things were and like heavy? But they were like amazing at the time. Everyone was like, these are like amazing. I don't know, what were they? I forgot how much they MSRP. Like $120, $150, something like that. I don't remember what the original Daiwa Tatulas were, but they were extremely big. And then when the CT came out, I think CT stands for like compact compact something. But this is like the smaller Tatula because everyone was like, that old Tatula is so big. And then, so this was kind of like the jump into a smaller framed Tatula. So anyway, that's actually this is not that dirty. My dad mostly uses spinning reels. He kind of has a bait casting, this combo set out for like throwing a frog or a swim jig, or a chatterbait. So he's kind of limited on what he uses a bait caster for. Like he doesn't do any bottom contact stuff. He just uses it for like moving baits that needs thicker line. So, all right, clean the worm drive out a bunch. Should probably use the. We're gonna clean the worm gear out. I don't know if anybody's gonna watch this, but I'm just doing it for fun because I haven't seen any other YouTuber do live maintenance or builds or anything. I don't know. Maybe there's some rod builders that do live YouTube rod building. That would be kind of sweet. I would watch that. I wonder if anyone's doing that out there. All right. So I'll say the body is fairly clean. I'm not too worried about it at the moment. So we're going to pop the side plate off. And get that guy off. Come on. Pretty clean in there. You guys can see this. Not too shabby. I definitely know this thing needs a grease. I don't think this thing has been greased in years. So that's my primary mission, is to get the old grease out and re-grease, but the rest of this thing looks pretty freaking clean. So I'm gonna drop a little oil on this bearing. That's it. Side plate done. Since this is a Tatula, there is no spool shaft bearing. The spool looks really clean. She is sparkly. Yeah. All right, put that off to the side. I don't got to do much with that. I do want to clean this bearing under, not clean it, but I want to oil the bearing under the spool tension knob. We'll get to that later. This looks really nice. All right, time to get the old handle off. Fun part. Let's see, replacement bearings on a Tatula SV. I mean, you can get OEM bearings, or if you go to Tackle Trap, the best place to get bearings is just Tackle Trap. I'll have to look, but off the top of my head, the bearing selection they have there is great. I don't think you need to go with ceramics unless you want the noise. Ceramic bearings are, better. They're the best bearings you can get. Oh, where's my tool? I'm missing a tool here. Where is it? I had my little Aurora 10 millimeter to get this nut off. Where did I put it? Of course, I set it down somewhere. Don't you guys always do this when you have like an idea of what you want to do and you take all the things out and you walk away with a tool and you don't know where you set it down? Oh man, give me 1 sec. I gotta find it. Where is my socket? CT, the Type R, the Type R. What did the Type R had? It had like some, it was like a little lighter, right? Like the Type R had some weight savings over the regular Tatula CT. Am I wrong? Am I right? Give me 1 second, everybody. I apologize. But I literally have no idea where my... God, I had it in my hand. Where is my tool? Give me 1 moment. Okay. So I just went and grabbed the socket because I don't know where that tool went, and I don't care. Too many Miller Lights. I've had literally 1 Miller Light. 1. This is the first one. So don't give me that crap. All right. We're back. Now we can get this socket off. Or the nut off. Okay. But yeah, the Tatula CTs and the Type Rs are pretty sweet. Do Type Rs have like an aftermarket? Because they were very popular, but they stopped making them. Ooh. Do you guys still rock Type Rs? The tool we need is this guy. Cheers, everybody. We're going to be using the Daiwa Space Age grease per usual. Yeah, people seem to like the speed spool bearing. Speed spool is just another Boca competitor. So there's a lot of like ceramic bearing companies out there now. And ow, just dang, I just cut myself. Jeez. This thing is sharp. I just poked my finger on this little, just poked my finger on this little thing. I got a little blood going. My reel bit me. Yeah, I can already see a lot of gunk on the shaft. Yuck. Look at this stuff. Yummy. Yeah, this reel has not been cleaned in a while, so it's not gonna be pretty in here. Got another. This thing has a lot of shims. Okay. Get the bearing out. I bought a Pro TI for 170. It's definitely gonna help when I take it apart and clean it a little better. Yeah, Pro TIs are really easy to take apart. Cabela's arachnid reels were the Tatula type R. Yeah, that's right. I remember those arachnids. They basically took a Daiwa Tatula, made it like a cool blue color. I forgot. You can't really see the bearing under that tension knob. It's easier to get it from the other side, so I'm just going to pop that back on. But yeah, I remember those Cabela's arachnids, and they just rebranded the Daiwa Tatula and made it blue. You know, that was back in the day before Bass Pro bought Cabela's. They basically like repainted and remarketed Daiwa reels. So you could get like Cabela's model reels were actually just rebranded Daiwas for a long time. And I like that. That was kind of cool. And then Bass Pro Shops comes along, and now you can only buy the Bass Pro Shop crap. And all the Cabela's brand stuff was thrown to the wayside. There were some spinning reels that Daiwa made for Cabela's. Shouldn't you put oil in there? Oil and where? I'm not sure where you're talking about. I'm going to get these side plate screws off. I kind of miss the old Cabela's. When they bought Bass Pro, I was very bummed out. Or sorry, when Bass Pro bought them, I was very bummed out. All right, let's see what ugliness is under here. So one thing I'm noticing right away is that this thing is pretty dry. My suspicions were it was dry, and so you can see on the collar, on the pinion right here, a lot of the grease. That's going to zoom in, but a lot of the grease is clumped up as usual right around the collar. Alrighty. Not that bad, but dry. I knew it was going to be pretty dry. Get some of this old nasty grease off the main shaft here. Tension knob. Yeah, so there's a bearing underneath the tension. So there's a bearing under the tension knob, but it's way easier to get to from this side than this side. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna hit it with some oil, but I'm gonna hit it from this side. There's your anti-reverse right here. But yeah, I will throw a little oil on that thing, just not right this second. Now cross your fingers that this comes up nice. Oh, I knew it was gonna fight me. Sometimes this needs a little coursing. God damn it. I hate this. This happens on these older Tatula reels. So what this is the teeth. There's a little like extra material on the teeth on the shaft. It's just bad milling, which makes getting the main gear a pain. Oh, whoa, what happened? Where'd the pinion go? Oh, the whole pinion and collar fell out. There we go. But yeah, getting this off is sometimes a pain in the ass on these older reels. No Orion beer? I've never had Orion beer in my life. I didn't even know that was a brand. Oh, there we go. Freaking kidding me. Here's your brake. I'm sorry, your brake. Here's your drag. So the one carbon fiber drag wheel, whatever you want to call it, plate. Put that right there. Let's get the main gear off. Ooh, it came out pretty good. Here's your thumb bar engagement thing. This is when you turn the handle and it clicks back in place. That's what this thing does. Washer under there. So we're gonna go do a sticky. Clean that up a little bit. We're gonna put this off to the side. We don't really need it the second. I need it at this moment. Ugh, that's gross. Look at that. That's brake dust essentially. Okay, I'm gonna leave this right here for now. Ugh. Old grease is nasty. All right. This thing is so dry. There's like no grease. So this should have this part right here, these two teeth. This is what drives the worm gear off the main shaft, and this is like super dry. This thumb bar is dry. Everything is dry. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our space age grease. This is the same grease that comes in every stock Daiwa, except the grease from the factory is clear and this is blue. Otherwise it's the same thing. So this is what Daiwa techs use. So we're gonna grease this bad boy right here. So I just kind of squeeze it and then turn it. Get it kind of in the teeth. A little bit of grease goes a long way, but because I'm probably not going to service this thing again in a while, I'm going to probably use a little bonus grease. So if it's starting to turn blue, that's good. All right. So that's greased. Now we're going to grease the thumb bar. We're just going to hit a bunch of different spots on this thing with some grease. We're going to thumb bar screw. Yeah. Okay. Daughter telling me the dog's out. I'm going to hit some grease on the spring. We're going to hit some grease on where it moves there. We're going to go a little bit in the thumb bar. Doesn't need much. All right. So that looks pretty good. Let's look at our collar. This is where all the nastiness is going to be. See how that old, there wasn't that much grease in this thing. Let's see, I saw a question. What's the question? What's the difference between bearing oil, and just real oil? Not really anything. I just use, like, oil is oil. I use nano oil. You can use any real oil. There's a lot of good brands out there. You don't have to get too crazy with the oil. The Lucas real oil is really popular. So that stuff's good. Shimano oil that comes in your Shimano reels, like in the box, that oil is good. I like this nano oil just because I use this on a lot of stuff. I use this on like knives and all sorts of random things. This is the 10 weight, and I love this little like applicator it has on the end. So the nano oil is my preference, but you can. There's a lot of different options out there. All right, so I cleaned the collar up, got all that old nasty ass grease out of there. Here's our pinion. Should probably clean the pinion up a little bit. Is there anybody actually watching this? Oh wow, there's 24 people. 24 people watching a really mundane video where nothing exciting is gonna happen. I like it. What's everyone up to tonight? You guys all just chilling? You guys watch March Madness this weekend? I watched a lot of basketball because I got a foot injury, and so I've been kind of keeping off my feet and just watching a whole lot of. I've been watching Ozark. Oops. I've been watching Ozark, and I've been watching the NCAA tournament. It's been keeping me busy this weekend. All right. Here's the fun part, getting the pinion or the collar back on the yoke posts. My eyes aren't so great, so it's hard to see what I'm doing. I'm pretty sure I put it on upside down. Yep, I did. And the Vanford 3000. Mine is already feeling horrible. Yeah, I'm not. Actually, I've never taken apart a Vanford, so that would be an interesting one for sure. Why am I? Did I must have done that wrong. Already feeling horrible, as in like it's geary. So I thought I put that collar on upside down, but I didn't. The reason it wasn't fitting is because I had the thumb bar engaged. There we go. Fits now. Check your lumbar position, folks. All right, so now we're gonna put the main gear back on. So this is the thumb switch. That washer, I'll just put a little tiny bit of grease on this washer. I don't really know if you need to, but I'm going to, so it's not totally dry. Put that on. Ugh, that doesn't sound good. So the drag, I wouldn't run this dry. You're gonna want to lube it. You can run it dry. I know guys who like flip heavy, and they don't want their drag. They just want to lock their drag down. They all run them pretty dry on like their flipping sticks. But if you run your drag washer dry, it's gonna burn out faster. So a little bit of grease on it will extend its life. FYI. So I should just put a little grease on my fingers and just get it a little slimy. Don't need a lot, just a little bit. Ugh, there we go. So now we're gonna grease the main gear. Same deal, just kind of squeeze and turn. Squeeze and turn, squeeze and turn. The real seat is so good. Yeah, the New York Sprides look sweet. I have yet to see one in person. None of the shops around my house have them in yet. I would expect they will soon. But yeah, people seem to like the new X Prides. Those look pretty sweet. My confidence bait for spring. For largemouth, it's definitely a crankbait. For some reason, the first couple weeks in the spring, like an ice out, a crankbait can be really, really good. So I would say crankbait. I've had a lot of fun with a chatterbait and just a 3/8 ounce jig. So I would say like jig, crank, chatterbait. If they're schooled up and they're hitting on a chatterbait, that can be fun. But sometimes they don't. Jerkbait can be good in the spring too. But I would say the first thing I'm probably throwing, looking around for fish, is a crankbait. Yes, 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 yes. Metal on metal contact, grease, grease, grease. The whole inside of the side of the reel should be grease. Do not oil. Grease. Grease will last a long time, prevents wear. Oil dries up. Yes, grease, 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 grease. Lots of grease. Don't. I mean, oil for bearings and grease for everything else. Got it? Got it. Okay. So we've greased the main gear. We've greased. Let's see. Get anything from today's restock at hookup? Nope. Honestly, a bunch of the power wigglers. And you'll say, no, I haven't been buying much from the hookup lately. I just got so much stuff. I don't really need anything going into the season. So no, I have really not. I've been watching the hookups videos and stuff like that, but no, I haven't really put in an order for anything. I'm kind of good on stuff. Okay, this is cleaned enough for me. I want to get some oil into the tension knob bearing, so I'm gonna get my little nano oil thing. I'm gonna shoot some oil in there. I can kind of get to it if I push down. All right, that should be good. So in here, there's your anti-reverse clutch. Get this out. The collar, I'm gonna clean that a little bit. I always like dropping this in while the reel's apart, so it's easier to get it to line up in the teeth if you just kind of drop it in. Don't really need to do anything to the anti-reverse. You just leave it the way it is. I usually get some of the dirt out of there, and that's about it. It's good enough. Let's see. Any tips for fishing jigs? I almost lose them around structure. I don't know. Just gotta have to try different jigs, I guess. I love jig fishing. It's probably one of my favorites nowadays. What kind of structure? Docks, wood, that kind of stuff. There's a lot of different types of structure. Okay. All right. So this is a good sign. When you put your reel back together, you want that spool, that main shaft bearing to be flush. If it's sticking out too far, you know you don't have something lined up correctly inside the reel. Oh, if you notice, I forgot to put on my yoke post springs, which I do all the time. I always forget these stupid things. And you can grease these too. It's not a bad idea to throw a little grease on the yoke post springs. So I'll just push down my thumb, hit it with a little teeny bit of grease. Don't need to really, but it doesn't hurt. All right. Am I missing any other parts? Nope. Okay. Let's put a screw in. I don't know. I say I don't need more tackle, and then I bought like $400 more of tackle recently, and I did a video about it. So don't listen to me. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Don't forget the springs. Yep. If you want to get into reel greasing, just pick up some of this stuff. It's called Daiwa Space Age. You can get it on Tackle Warehouse. You can get it on eBay, a lot of different places. This is the official like Daiwa grease that they use from the factory. And it comes in this nice, I just like it because it comes in the squeeze bottle. It's just so much easier to put on. So a lot of real techs in the world use the Daiwa Space Age. So definitely check it out. Usually I do this when I'm cleaning and maintaining reels, I listen to music, but I can't because YouTube would copyright my videos if I played like the kind of music I want to listen to. So that's a little bit of a bummer, but I'm just gonna sit and talk instead. Come on. Getting these side plate screws in. It's always fun. There we go. The threading on them is very small. All right. Do you ever throw 6-inch mag draft for spring? No, I don't usually touch a mag draft in the spring. I probably should. I don't know. Like I said, I tend to stick to crankbaits. There's not a lot of grass emerging yet in Minnesota, Wisconsin, so you can really crank all over the place and not get too much like vegetation. So the other side of the worm drive, I've seen a lot of people just double shot this thing, like put a little bit of grease and oil. So I'm going to oil and then I'm going to hit it with some grease too. I don't know why people double shot it with grease and oil, but that's what I've seen, so that's what I'm going to do. And then also the thumb bar on this side, throw a little grease in there as well. And the last thing we're going to grease is the worm gear. Actually, I'm going to wait until I got the spool in, because you're not supposed to turn the handle on these Daiwas when the spool is taken out, because the pinion is supported by the spool. And if you turn the handle while the spool is out, you can actually like grind and like wreck the gears because the teeth aren't perfectly lined up. So, fun fact. Let's see. Finally got my order in on my NRX 852S. Hope it's as good as the old 5052S. Yeah, I mean, the new 852S is basically slightly lighter and slightly more firm. So slightly more everything, right? More real, more, it's just more. All right, so we're gonna put the handle back together. But yeah, you'll like it. I haven't actually fished mine yet. I just got it. I have an 852S NRX Plus. But I haven't actually gotten it out yet because we are still iced here in the great state of Minnesota. Ugh. Knew that was going to happen. So here's a little clicker plate. Another washer. The nut that holds the spring. So I know this isn't going to be a terribly exciting video. I was like, hey, I'm going to take this reel apart and clean it. Might as well just set up the phone and broadcast live and see what happens, and see if anyone actually sits and watches this crap. Apparently, some of you actually do, which I'm shocked. Ugh, the teeth on this shaft are freaking jacked. This is the part I don't like. This is the thing with these older Tatulas, is the shaft has teeth that are just not milled great, and so they just grab everything as you put these fucking nuts on. Do some unboxing with this angle. Yeah, I could. People don't want to see my pretty face. God, this is just. See, now we're past that bad teeth. So once we're past the bad teeth, look how nice that moves. Mass-produced reels don't have the greatest tolerances for manufacturing, especially ones that are not made in Japan. Okay, spring back on, handle going on. Let's see if I screwed up. Something does not feel right. I don't know, guys. I don't think I did this. There's something not right. This should be sitting a lot. There we go. I knew that didn't feel right. I didn't have enough room. Now I do. Okay. Put the nut back. Oh, wait. Yeah, we put the nut on, and then we put the little cosmetic clip. So this nut, you got to like align the teeth perfectly. All right, so we'll put the little cosmetic thingy-majig on there. We got to get that to line up right. So my next big expense is going to be I'm getting a custom cover made for my boat. And I'm dropping it off at this place next Saturday. So I'm really excited because my boat sits outside and I travel a lot between here and Wisconsin, and my boat sits out a lot, and my cover has been so jacked over the last few years, and I've been really needing a brand new cover. And I want to have a nice one made for my boat, and I'm gonna have a fully custom one made. It's gonna be super bougie, and I'm very excited. Okay, we're in the home stretch, ladies and gentlemen. I just got to get the side plate set to fine or flush. This is always fun. Come on, baby. Click in. Why are we not clicking it? Did I do something? Okay. So it clicks in fine. The spool's not out in. Do I not have the spool seated right? I bet you that's what it is. Oh, I do this all the time. So this is a fun fact. When you so when you have the spool tension knob tight, okay, so when you have this and you turn this, the spool actually moves that way. And so if you have the side plate and you're trying to get it on and you have the spool tension too much, you got to like back it off, and then you can get your side plate on. I've done that before, and it always boggles me why I can't get the side plate on. I'm like, oh, I gotta back the spool tension off. Yeah, so cleaning your reels like this once a year is great. Oh, that's so much better. In reality, you should clean and grease your reels once a year, right? Like that's a good way to go. Do I actually do that? No, because there's certain reels I use way more often that I do give more attention, and there's certain reels that maybe I know I don't use that. No, I'm just greasing the worm gear now. So there's certain reels that are like I know I don't use as much, and I know that probably don't need to be maintained because they're not like my main bread and butter reels. So I don't know. But yes, if you're doing it correctly, you should be doing this once a year for your reels. Whoa, that is so much better. This is the thing about Daiwa reels that I don't see so much with Shimano is that, for instance, this reel, I had it for a couple of years. I used it a lot. I gave it to my dad. He used it a lot. So this reel has been used quite a bit. And it's just like, can you guys hear that? Like everything on a Daiwa, on these like cheaper Daiwa reels, always feels so like lived in. Like they really just get loosened up and are noisy. I don't know. It's not like a bad thing. It's just that the tolerances on these price point in Daiwa's reels are just like you can hear all the parts moving around. I mean, everything is tight on this thing, right? Like I got all the screws, everything's tight on this thing. It's just when these reels like break in, they just are noisy as fuck. Whereas you take like a Corrado that's just as broken in and it's not as noisy. I don't know. That's just a personal observation. I don't know. I might be completely nuts, but that's the one thing about like these cheaper Daiwa reels, especially like the Tatula SVs, is like they feel real tight and they're quiet out of the box, but then once you start using them and they kind of break in a little bit, they become kind of like noisy, jinky sounding. So see how nice that spins now? I'm just working that grease a little bit. Yeah. So anyway, this is my dad's reel. It should be good to go. I see he's got the brakes up quite a bit. He's got it on like 13. Ooh. He's not the greatest caster, so. Anywho, as far as adjusting the tension knob, I always make it so it's just a little side to side play. So I back it off until it really wiggles. And then I just move it in until it only wiggles a teeny tiny bit. So now it's not wiggling at all. Too tight. Back it off. See, that's a little wiggly. So I'm going to leave it right there. And then from that point forward, you just adjust the brakes on the side. You don't mess with the spool unless you're like really in some wind and you need to like, need to give it a little more brake, then you can mess with the knob. But pretty much leave it just a little wiggly, just a smidge, and then just adjust from the brakes. Let's see. Yeah, so grease ports. I don't like grease ports. I know like Abu Garcia, like Doyo reels, like Abu Garcia's Luz, they have that like lube port down here. I'm not a big fan of the lube port because what happens is you have a bunch of grease in the reel. The grease moves to weird places in the reel the longer you use it, and then your gears get dry. And then when you open up the lube port and put more grease on that, you're just adding more grease to the reel and you're not cleaning out the clumps of bad stuff that's building up in the corner. So you're just like piling more. It's like if you have a hoarder house, you're just shoving the grease over to the corner and you're putting more grease in. Yeah, it's going to be smooth and like be better, but over the time, now you're just going to add more grease into the reel that's going to like pile up in all those weird little corners and like around the collar and whatnot. So it's a temporary fix. I don't really like lube ports. I think they should actually not have reels on them. I don't I think the lube port's just like it's an effective way to do a short-term solution, but in reality, you should clean out your old grease and replace it with new grease completely instead of just pouring more grease into it. Anyway, let's see what other questions you guys got. Sub 200 Iowas don't pass the shake test after season 2. No, they don't. They just don't. They're just mass produced. The tolerances aren't great. When you go to the new zillions though, and you go up to like the stees or the zillions, the tolerances on those reels are much better than these Tatulas. I'll say my Daiwa, I have the brakes tuned up. I don't know what it's going to come down to the 12 mark, so it's just backlashes. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much it. Not the most exciting video in the world, but this Daiwa Tatula CT is now what I consider to be greased. I didn't do a deep cleaning, like I didn't take the whole worm gear apart and like sonic clean it, and you can take a lot of the bearings out and like soak them in acetane or acid, or not acid. What am I trying to say? The chemical that kind of eats away the grease. But anyway, or you can sonic clean them with, like, if you have a sonic parts cleaner. That's what a lot of guys do. But I didn't do a full tear down to get all the bearings out and clean all the bearings. I just did a grease. I think this thing just felt very chunky, so now it feels a lot better. I ordered the Mad Bull we should see next week. Can I please hit you up on IG? Yeah, you can shoot. Anybody can shoot me a message on Instagram at any point. I get a lot of messages on Instagram, and I don't mind whatsoever. Everybody is super cool on Instagram. So yeah, feel free to shoot me a message. I might not have a great answer for you, but I will take my best crack at it. WD-40 gets rid of grease quick. Yeah, I know a lot of people use WD-40. I mean, WD-40 is just a degreaser, just like this. I use this Ardent Reel Cleaner. The reason I use this stuff is because I got a bunch of cans of these when Gander Mountain was going out of sale. They had these for like 50% off, and they had a bunch of them. So I bought like 3 or 4 cans of these, and these things last a long time. Like, I'm on this one can for like the last 2 or 3 seasons, and it's still like, I still have a bunch in this thing. So I mean, I don't use a lot. You just kind of squirt it. So anyway, but yeah, any degreaser is a good way to go. Let's see. Anywho, let's see. I've been doing this for 50 minutes. I think this is a good place to end. I'm gonna go and finish my delicious Miller Lite, and I don't know, go watch some YouTube videos or go check on my kids, try and get them to bed. I don't know. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope this was mildly informative and entertaining. I am not a like legit reel tech. I'm just a guy who has so many reels that it's not really cost effective for me to send all my reels to a reel service tech. So I just I'm just gonna do it myself. So I've been servicing my own reels for several years and kind of learned a few tricks along the way, and hopefully this helps. Like I said, I'm not a real parts or cleaning or whatever expert. I just do this for fun. Something to do. I mean, it's winter in Minnesota. We don't have a lot going on. So, all right, guys. I will see y'all later. Thank you for hanging out.